What's up, everyone? My name is Ethan. This is Courtside TV. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it. So today I wanted to talk about Andre Drummond joining the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is another big profile name on the buyout market, similar to LaMarcus Aldridge, who I talked about yesterday. Joining the other really big playoff contender right now, right? The Lakers and the Nets are considered by many to be the favorites to win the finals on each conference. So, assuming, of course, that LeBron James and Anthony Davis can get healthy. But Drummond joins this team where it's going to be interesting to see his fit on this team. And again, a lot of people are overreacting to this, considering the caliber of name that this is. He's a multiple-time All-Star and a guy who has been good at points throughout his career. So I kind of wanted to talk about Drummond joining the Lakers, what that means for them and for the rest of the league. So the first thing that surprised me about this when I was kind of looking into it a little more, Drummond is only 27 years old, and that might be surprising to you as well, considering that usually when guys get bought out and they're in like the end of their contract or whatever and join a veteran team to try to ring chase, they're usually, in their 30s or a little bit older than this, but 27 is right in the middle of what should be his physical prime. Now, I think that Drummond has already peaked as a player personally. I don't think he's, gonna get much better than he is right now. He's not necessarily still getting better and a still young guy, but only 27 years old. That's kind of crazy to think about considering how long he's been in the league. But yeah, he's only 27, so he still should have quite a bit left in the tank, especially after taking the last couple months off for the Cavs. He hasn't really played for them because they were looking for, a way to get him off the team. And he ends up going to the Lakers here, and he should be able to step right in and give them some juice at the center spot, and be able to, just help them in their playoff push, considering that they're going to be missing their stars for the next couple of weeks here. Who knows when AD is going to come back? LeBron's looking about 3 to 5 weeks from now was the report I saw today. So it could still be quite a while. So Drummond is right away going to have the opportunity to be, definitely a bigger focal point of this team's offense and what they're trying to do than he might necessarily be in a couple of weeks when they're fully healthy. So I think that was a big motivating factor for him to be able to join the Lakers and be able to take on this big role, considering that he has had a big role in the past on teams like the Pistons and the Cavs and stuff. And now that he's kind of entering this new phase of his career, ring chasing and stuff, he might, have to take a little bit lesser of a role than he's comfortable with. But for right now, he can kind of play his Andre Drummond style of basketball, because when their stars are not healthy, they're going to need guys to put the ball in the basket, and at least he can, attempt to take some of that responsibility on. So in terms of how Drummond might fit on this team when they're fully healthy, assuming that LeBron and AD can get back to full strength here, he steps into a three-man center rotation, and gets to kind of be the bruiser type of guy. He's actually more of a similar player. He gives him a similar look to what they had last year with Dwight and JaVale. He's not quite as run, jump, and dunk type center. He's not like super athletic and can run down the court and, smash down lobs. Now he can do that, but he's a little more slow-footed and more of a bruiser, a really big guy and a rebounder, right? But he is a little more similar to last year's center team than, say, Montrezl Harrell or Marc Gasol are. So it kind of gets them a little bit of familiarity there. And then Gasol, obviously, we know as the sort of pick and pop, pass first, hub center guy, and then Montrezl Harrell is like a little bit undersized and super athletic and kind of can come in for that scoring pop off the bench. So they have a couple of different options here. It'll be interesting to see how Vogel works with this rotation, because he's got guys that give him all sorts of different looks. So we'll have to see what works for them. A lot of it will probably depend on matchup, especially when we get to the postseason. That's that. So it'll be, Drummond is a guy who hopefully won't demand a lot of touches, but like I said, he's used to that and used to being a star on his team. Now, if he buys into his role, I think it'll work a lot better, but we haven't really seen him do that, and there have been a lot of points in his Drummond's career where if things aren't going his way, he sort of pouts and checks out mentally and is not, fully there and not buying into his role, because late in his Cavs tenure, he was not really playing to the strengths of the team, and at points when he was on the Pistons, he kind of let his frustrations show when things weren't going entirely his way. So that's something to watch here, right? If he starts getting his minutes cut and is only playing 10, 15 minutes a night, or has to go to the bench in favor of one of those other guys, or ends up getting benched late in games because the Lakers want to run small, as they've liked to do over the past couple of seasons. That'll be something to monitor, whether or not he's able to fully buy into his role and commit, because that will be the best way for this team to go. Because obviously, if if every player is buying in and locked in and ready to make a title run, then that's when teams are functioning at their best. And LeBron teammates have to do that. Basically, if you're a LeBron teammate and you're not buying into your role, you're going to get shipped out, next flight to wherever else, because he just is not going to put up with that. So I think that was part of the agreement when Drummond agreed to sign with the Lakers, that he would, obviously not expect too much from the team. It's just a rest of the season contract, and he's not going to try to be, a third star next to LeBron and Anthony Davis. He's a role player at this point in his career, and, he's just going to have to be okay with that. And so hopefully for them, he is going to be able to buy into that and make it work, because this certainly, if this works out for them, this does add another dimension to the Lakers, offensively and defensively. I think this could really work out for both sides, as long as he's willing to let it work out. But really, the one thing I think he should be there for is just rebounding. He has been one of the best rebounding centers in the league. Perhaps the best rebounding center in the league over the past, 5 or 6, 7 years. I guess he's been in the league since 2012. So for a while, right? He's been one of the best rebounding centers, and he's still able to do that. He's really, really big. He's super strong. He can box out. And he knows what to do. Now, his field goal percentage is not great. He's not gonna, be a super efficient guy, but he can get his own rebound, and that kind of pads his stats a little bit, right? Of, missing a layup and getting his own rebound back, putting it up again, trying to score. It hurts his field goal percentage, but it helps his rebounding stats. He's not an awesome defender. He's just big. He can be in your way. He has a lot of physical tools, but he's not the smartest basketball player, and he's not the most efficient basketball player. So I think there will definitely be times where he's going to be asked to go to the bench and not play a lot, considering the way that the Lakers play, and that's fine. Like I said, as long as he's willing to do that, I think it's going to work out. But I think there will certainly be games when they're going to need him in certain matchups, not necessarily defensively, but just his big presence inside the paint, in order to deter other teams from going in there and being able to gobble up rebounds and get them out in transition and stuff. Should be interesting to see how this works, but I think this could work out really well for the Lakers if this is done right. So, similar to the LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin thing with the Nets, casual fans are going to overreact to this and lose their minds and say, oh my gosh, the Lakers had another all-star center, and he's, the rich get richer, and this is ruining the league or whatever. And I haven't seen that as much as I did with the Nets thing, but let's be honest here. If you follow the NBA, you'll know that Andre Drummond is a good player. He's nothing special. He's a good rotational center at this point in his career. I think, he's been one of the more overrated players in the NBA throughout his career. And the counting stats look good and all that. But realistically, if you've been watching him play, he's not the best. He's not the best NBA center out there, and he's probably not deserving of a couple of those all-star appearances that he had. But whatever, I'm not gonna sit here and trash on the guy. He's an NBA player and he knows how to play. But it's not like this is breaking the fabric of the league. Like, it's going to be okay. The Lakers add another center, and it's fine. And the other thing I do want to mention is potentially Marc Gasol ends up getting bought out by the Lakers. I've seen some rumors about that over the past few days since this has happened, considering that he might be out of the rotation depending on what Vogel decides to do. He hasn't been super good this year for the Lakers. The fit hasn't worked out really well. And so, maybe if there's some interest from both sides there in parting ways, then we could see Marc Gasol be on the move to potentially another contender. Who knows who might want to pick him up. But if he gets cut by the Lakers, he'll certainly have another job somewhere else. So that would certainly be an interesting wrinkle to this if they opt for Drummond over Marc Gasol. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But yeah, I think that's about all I have on Andre Drummond signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to, leave a comment letting me know what you guys think about this move, and what are all the ramifications of this. Would love to hear your thoughts down below. But yeah, with all that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.